This is definitely a passive strategy, and that's exactly what you want to do with investing. There's a lot of people out there that get into trading or very active, and which can also be stressful investing, where you're looking at charts and you're buying and you're selling, and you don't want to do that. To give you guys a context here, I'm the type of person, and I know you're like this too, Dwaine, is you like to make money when you're not working, right? Residual income.
Mm-hmm.
So with TYKR is very much built on the philosophy of buy and hold. And it's really the same strategy that makes billionaires billionaires. So think Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, those guys, they don't trade. They don't go in and out of the market. They make wise investments and lets those investments grow for you.
Welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast, your source for real-world strategies focused on creating long-term wealth, cash flow, and financial freedom through real estate. Through guidance, tips, and stories of highly successful real estate investors and thought leaders, we provide you the tools to succeed and reach the lifestyle you always wanted. And now your host, Dwaine Clarke.
Hello and welcome to the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast. This is your host, Dwaine Clarke. Today we have Sean Tepper. Sean is the founder and CEO of TYKR. TYKR helps self-directed IRA investors achieve double-digit returns in the stock market. TYKR is a stock screening platform that determines if a stock is on sale, watched, or overpriced. Sean is also the host of Payback Time, a podcast focused on helping people achieve financial independence. Sean, thank you so much for joining us on the show. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, doing well, Dwaine. Glad to be here.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. And we had mentioned pre-show, we talked a couple times a couple weeks ago that our podcast mainly focuses a lot on real estate investment strategies. But what I always kind of preach is 3D money, is having sources of income coming from different areas to kind of create that financial future that you're always looking to achieve. And me, I've always been trying to learn about stock market investing for a long time and just didn't know how to kind of figure it out. And then kind of talking with you kind of opened my eyes a bit on like, wow, this is a really cool platform. I really want to learn your story about it. So before we kind of kick things off, would you mind talking about how you got started and what's your current focus?
Yeah, I'll give you my backstory. I'll try to make the story as concise as possible, but it's a fun story nonetheless. So I've been in software engineering for about 15 years, and I had a service business from like 2006 through 2010, and it was a great experience, but I can honestly say even through the recession, it was very much not a lucrative business. So it's very much trading your time for dollars, and during that stretch of the economy, is very difficult to build the business up. But at my own expense, I ended up growing the business at a decent rate. And in 2010, that company merged with another company, which was more of a blessing than anything. I was able to kind of wipe my hands and say, all right, fresh start, can move on. And that's the point when I kind of realized like, hey, real wealth is built through investing. And I focused really on software. So I was building websites, building custom software projects. So I'm like, hey, I could probably apply the same skill sets to tech businesses, private businesses, and help them grow with the goal to watch a tech business or an online business grow and sell it for that 10x multiple. Needless to say, that's a lot easier said than done, and that actually never happened. I was able to generate some residual income from these investments, but never that big home run. So I did that from like 2010 through 2015, and I didn't find a lot of success during that stretch. So I'm like, you know what? Let's pause and let's step back and take a look at the public market. And I kind of looked at it a different way than most people. I know that the people out there who make billions, like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, David Tepper, Ray Dalio, they don't guess, right? They don't use emotions. They don't use feelings, which means they use logic. And the foundation of logic is math. So I said, okay, so if they're making consistent, huge returns in the market, they're doing something that is mathematical, which I can figure it out. I can figure out how to reverse engineer the algorithm. So I set out that first year to read as many books as I could. And some of them were pretty dry and boring, and some of them were a little more exciting. But within that first year, I landed on some formulas, and I was using everything in Excel, doing everything manual. But to give you an idea here, the average financial advisor will usually return about 6% a year for you, which is okay. You might make a lot of money like 30 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's the benchmark to aim for. So that first year, I returned about 15%. So it's well over double, which can cut your retirement time in half pretty much. I'm like, okay, so I'm onto something here. And I kept playing with this and refining this algorithm. And we're talking hundreds of iterations, and things came to a really interesting head last summer. I was meeting with a few financial institutions, and one was like, hey, you've got something here, but you've got to test this through the recession to see if it's worth anything. So I'm at that moment, I'm like, okay, I'm a little nervous because if this fails during the recession, I've got to kind of start over.
Mm-hmm.
But if it does all right, I'm onto something. So he's like, use the S&P 500 as your benchmark and report back to me. Okay, let's do this. So 2008, the S&P 500 went down 38%. Ticker that year was up 24%. In 2009, the S&P 500 went up 23%. Ticker was up 72% that year. And in 2010, the S&P 500, it kind of leveled off that year at 10%. Well, ticker that year was up 96%. So I knew at that moment, I'm like, okay, I definitely have something here, but just to make sure, I'm going to test this from 1999 through 2019. So I've got a solid 20 years of back testing to see how this thing does. And over those 20 years, the lowest return was 10%. The highest return was 96%. And that's the moment, this was last summer, I'm like, hey, I've got to turn this into something so other people can use it as well. So I essentially applied my software engineering background, built the software. I went live like 2 months ago, and now it's available so anybody can use it. But long story short, I've been using it to generate returns between like I said, at that first year was 15% on up to 40% last year. This year, because I used Ticker to buy during the COVID drop, I knew what stocks to buy. This year, I'm up about 80% so far. We'll see if that continues, but that's really the backstory on how Ticker came to be.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I was just kind of talked to you earlier that the stock market is so volatile and people are just kind of looking at it from kind of a bird's eye view and like, yeah, it's down, I'm out and stuff. And it's like, there's people that's making money during this time.
Right.
So is your software geared to the semi-active or really active investor that are, constantly, that's kind of their business to kind of grow that, or is this kind of more of a additional passive thing where they can kind of go in and out and there's like some long-term type of strategies, or so who's it kind of geared towards?
This is definitely a passive strategy, and that's exactly what you want to do with investing. There's a lot of people out there that get into trading or very active, and which can also be stressful investing, where you're looking at charts and you're buying and you're selling. You don't want to do that. To give you guys a context here, I'm the type of person, and I know you're like this too, Dwaine, is you like to make money when you're not working, right? Residual income. So with Ticker is very much built on the philosophy of buy and hold. And it's really the same strategy that makes billionaires billionaires. So think Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, those guys, they don't trade. They don't go in and out of the market. They make wise investments and lets those investments grow for you. So during this COVID or this volatile market, what Ticker does is it has a really definitive rating system. So a stock is either classified as on sale, which means it's a buy, a watch, or overpriced. Overpriced is a sell. What you do is you buy stocks that are on sale. And I can go into that if you want me to, but when stocks drop like severely like they did in March this year and they're still on sale, this is what makes investors a lot of money, is you buy. In other words, you become greedy when the rest of the market is fearful. And Ticker really guides you through that principle.
Wow. Yeah, because you had mentioned kind of helping the self-directed kind of, and in my mind, I'm thinking like retirement, kind of more of a passive type of approach where they're comfortably going through and trying to get through this. So it's kind of as far as kind of experience level. I mean, I know that I went through kind of your website. It looks very intuitive, and the process seemed very
Mhm.
very easy to understand. Like, what is this more
Thank you.
geared to? More a beginner, a more of experienced type of person that has some type of skin in it that they kind of understand this.
It's really for both beginners and advanced investors. And I'll break that down a little bit. So with the beginners, a lot of people out there, and to the layman, finance and investing can be like a foreign language. There's $20 words and complex language commonly used. And in some cases, it's used to put the customer in a position like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, but hey, Mr. Financial Guy, why don't you invest my money and I'll just rely on you, which is fine. With Ticker, it's very layman's terms language. It's very dumbed down, simplified, just to make it very approachable. And so it's a great place for the beginner to understand how you make money at investing and how to find great stocks. And of course, it finds those stocks for you. But on the flip side of that, if you are an advanced investor, like you totally understand the income statements, the balance sheet, the cash flow statements of publicly traded businesses, what to look for, this will take you to a whole new level, and it will make your day job as an investor extremely quick and easy. It's because you can find stocks in seconds, like great deals. You don't have to do extensive analysis that can stretch over hours or days. It's just right to the point.
And then your software covers like what, 3,000 companies or something like that? Or?
It's about 4,000 stocks right now. I give you a little background. It pulls from a feed that pulls like pretty much all U.S. stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some foreign stocks, but to give everybody a little context here, the United States this is a good thing. It's very rigorous with the quarterly releases and annual releases. Like you have to deliver on time. It has to be extremely accurate, whereas foreign countries, I'm not talking down to them in any way, but it's not as rigorous. So that's why right now I pull U.S. data, some foreign data. I'm working on something to pull more foreign stocks, but there's about 4,000 U.S.-based stocks in Ticker today.
Wow. And we had talked just briefly about like, do you provide any additional training? I know like that investor mindset, what to look for. I know kind of the software walks you through a lot of it, but do you also offer any kind of training to go along with that?
I do. On Payback Time, it's just paybacktime.pro. You can go. I have coaching services, and I offer a free consultation. So if anybody's interested, if they're a self-directed investor, or even if they want to get started, like give you an example here. I've had a few people come to me and say, hey, if I were to start investing and I had $1,000, where would I start? And I pretty much guide them through that process, how you get set up, how you get started, how do you use Ticker. And then there's other people with a little more experience that they want to move away from speculative investing, like investing in like the Bitcoins and gambling on marijuana stocks or whatever. They want to learn how do I start making real money in the stock market on like good businesses? So I guide those individuals as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely key because it's just, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, yeah, I got to get involved, but they don't know what the starting point is or where to kind of, this seems just like a very logical starting point to say, this is, and definitely can hit your goals. You had mentioned with the type of returns that you can get from this, and just starting out small, just building up or if you have a larger portfolio and you're trying to take a little bit more control of that and really take advantage of this. Because again, it's so much, I think there's some money to be made if you do this correctly.
I'll add something here that might be advantageous for your audience if the majority of your listeners are into real estate investing. The beauty about stock investing, and I love giving people this example, is you don't need to start a business. You don't need to create an LLC. You don't need a website. You don't need to do cold call sales. All you need is a laptop and internet, and you're off and running. And you can make serious returns in the market buying very conservative, safe businesses. And to give you an idea, like I spend about 15 minutes a week looking at Ticker and just checking things out. And that's it. Like there's not a whole lot of time investment in those returns. Like I said earlier, I'm about 80% up this year. Doesn't happen every year, but let's say in the low end, I'm 15%. That's still pretty big.
Absolutely.
Average.
And then you offer two like membership packages. Can you kind of talk about those two?
Yeah, I have a basic and a pro package. So the basic is pretty close to the pro. There's a few features that the pro has, and I'll give you examples of what's in there. So if you join with either, you get access to daily stock updates. You get a daily newsletter. I do like there's a daily on sale and a daily overpriced. You can see why. You can see which stocks are obviously on sale, which are overpriced. And you can add to a watch list. Here's an easy button for you. So there's a button for both basic and pro. That's the top 50 on sale. You can see it ranked, right? So if you don't know what to look for, you can literally go to that page and you can see. And so those are the similarities. Now with the pro version, there's watch list updates. So this is beautiful. So you could go on vacation, you could go do whatever. And if a stock changes from on sale to watch or overpriced, it notifies you automatically just via email. So you don't have to be logging into Ticker. There's another feature I'm releasing soon, and this is something a lot of people were interested in, which shows the top 10 holdings that I hold. So if people are not sure where to start, or if they want to really know what I'm doing, like the pro version, you get to see the top 10 stocks that I hold in my portfolio. And if you just buy those stocks, like you're not going to lose, in other words.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. Definitely want people to kind of check that out and see for themselves and give you a call. Just to kind of learn a little bit more about you. What's kind of like a typical work day, and do you have any special morning routines?
I am definitely a morning guy. I learned this trick back in college where if I wanted to get a lot done during the day, go to the gym before you really start your day.
Yeah.
I'm up at like sometimes between 4 and 4:30. And immediately breakfast, hit the gym. Right now, it's still kind of post-COVID, so I do like HIIT workouts in my basement, like plyometric type stuff. But otherwise, I love going to the gym doing CrossFit. And then I'm usually able to start work between 7 and 8. And I usually put in like an 8-hour day. I don't work too hard. I try to work pretty smart. But a lot of my day is spent like content creation, like creating the newsletters, doing social media. Then I'm engaged with my software engineering team, like architecting the software, taking customer requests and putting them into what you'd call stories, which are like, hey, this customer has an idea. We got to put it into a platform called Trello, which is like, it lists everything they need to do. It's kind of like a task list. And then I have to test all the engineering efforts to make sure it works correctly. And then I get into in the afternoon, that'll be like coaching sessions or networking meetings via Zoom, so that kind of stuff. But I try to end my day around like 4 o'clock, 4:30 at the latest, and then I've kind of got all night to do whatever I want. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then what you could say that you're most grateful for?
I don't have a lot of family or friends, but I would say the people that are in my life are really amazing people. And I'm very close with them and very positive, down to earth, and I appreciate every moment I have with them. They're great.
Awesome. Very well said. So we'll make sure to have all of the information on our show notes, but can you kind of give us some information on how to get in contact with you and get access to the software? And you mentioned is there a free trial for this that they can try this software out?
Absolutely. So Ticker has a 14-day free trial. You don't even need to add a credit card. All you got to do is go to the site, sign up. It'll ask you for your email, and you're in. And then from there, after 14 days, you can decide to add your credit card. The basic package is $29. The pro package is at $49. And yeah, it's got a money back guarantee. So 30 days. If you don't like it, after you even paid, just come to me, no questions asked. But you can go to ticker.pro, which is TYKR.pro. So that's my main site. And then the podcast and the coaching is at payback.time.pro. And you'll see on there all the podcast episodes as well as the coaching sessions, and everything's a free consultation. You can get
Awesome. Really excited. Yeah, this is a very interesting stuff because again, we always are talking about real estate, but again, it's just like another piece of the financial puzzle where you just like want to connect them all so you can put together a nice plan to bring in nice, continuous income to get you to your goals. And like I said, this is definitely investing in stocks is definitely one of them. So Sean, I really appreciate it so much, explaining the whole process for us. Very simple, easy to use software that you created. Congratulations on that again.
Oh, thank you.
And again, we'll look forward to connecting again soon. Again, folks, Sean Tepper at TYKR Pro, and we'll look forward to connecting with again soon. Thanks again.
All right, Dwaine, thanks a lot.
All right, take care, my friend.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Wealth Through Real Estate Investing podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes or the listening platform of your choice. Also, please check us out at DwaineLClarke.com, as well as find us on Facebook for more useful content and resources.